Okay, so I am about to make, or attempt to make Kinetic sand. I'm going to go over a few things first. So Kinetic sand that you can buy in the store is actually largely um, just sand, and then there is a chemical or um, there is polydimethylsiloxane, about 2% of that, and that is what gives it the kinetic sand properties, which resembles kind of wet sand, but also doesn't stick to things like typical wet sand. So it also, and the reason why it doesn't stick to other things is because it sticks to itself. Um, so polydimethylsiloxane, PDMS for short, is a silicone oil, um, and which is a liquid polymerized siloxane. So it's a polymerization reaction, and that is a group of organic compounds containing carbon and silicon bonds. So sand has silicon and oxygen bonds, but the PDMS is carbon silicon bonds, and then there's organic side chains. So, uh, a couple things else about it that allows it to give the specific kinetic sand properties is it that it can, or at high temperatures, it acts like a viscous liquid, kind of similar to honey or maple syrup. But then at low temperatures, it's more similar to rubber. Um, so they are also, when PDMS surfaces become hydrophobic, so they want to go away from water. And that's kind of why kinetic sand is able to, kids are able to play with it. It's not messy, it sticks to each other, but it doesn't stick all over to other things like typical wet sand. So I'm not sure if this is going to work, but we'll give it a try. So I've got some sand that I cut out in the desert, so it's pretty, there are some rocks in it. And then now I'm going to add cornstarch, about a tablespoon. I'm going to mix it in there. So now we've got a mixture of sand and cornstarch. And I have a mixture of dish soap and water, so I'm going to start off by just putting a little bit in there, mixing it, getting it a little bit wet. Okay, getting a little bit more here. So I'm not very hopeful that this is going to give the same properties of kinetic sand that you can buy in the store. First of all, because PDMS is a chemical that's made, and that's the whole key to making kinetic sand. I'm not really sure which one of these ingredients can take the place of the PDMS with the carbon silicon bonds and organic side chain. So I've got a pretty good mixture. It feels like wet sand, but it's definitely sticking to other things. So I wasn't very hopeful going into this experiment, but at the same time, I do know why it's not working. There's not the PDMS in it, and I do know how kinetic sand is actually supposed to work.